This video is part of a series of video instructions on the BioGrace greenhouse gas calculation tool. This is instruction 2.5, use of disaggregated default values. Actually, there are two BioGrace tools. There's BioGrace 1 for biofuels and BioGrace 2 for electricity, heat and cooling from biomass. The instruction will show the BioGrace 1 Excel tool, but can also be used for BioGrace 2, as in the BioGrace 2 Excel tool the calculations are made in exactly the same way. For showing you how to use disaggregated default values, I will return to the example in the BioGrace Excel tool from the previous video instruction 2.4. In this video we worked on the cultivation of sugar beet, as you see in this part of the pathway. This calculation is however not yet complete and hence shall not be approved by a verifier, as these two A's in cell F8 and F10 indicate that for processing and transport also actual calculations have to be made. This has not been done. The input values for processing and transport have not yet been placed by actual values. Doing so would complete the calculation. There is another way, however, to complete the calculation, which is using disaggregated default values. This can be done quite simply by changing these two A's into D's, like this and this. Doing so, you indicate that no actual calculations will be made for processing and transport. In fact, Rule 2.5.2 of the BioGrace calculation rule document tells you that it's not allowed to change the numbers into actual numbers in the parts of the tool for which disaggregated default values are used. The rule states that starting values shall not be changed in parts of the biofuel production pathway for which a disaggregated default value is chosen. Imagine that this calculation for sugar beet cultivation is used year after year, and that there comes a year in which the inputs into the sugar beet cultivation are the same, but the yield of sugar beet is very low due to severe weather conditions. Say that the yield in that year is 40,000 per hectare, like this. Now you see that the result of the calculation for cultivation is worse than the disaggregated default value for cultivation. In this case, however, due to the calculation rule 2.5.2 just mentioned, it is not allowed to put a D here for cultivation, since the input numbers have been changed. In this case, either the overall default value for ethanol from sugar beet can be used, or a new calculation shall be made using the disaggregated default value for cultivation and actual values for processing and or transport. Changing the A's into D's will cause that the results shown here and here will no longer be taken from the calculations below, but from the values here that are taken from the data as included in the documents of the European Commission, which is RED Annex 5 for biofuels and bioliquids, and the GS3 report with number 26696EN for electricity, heat and cooling for solid and gaseous biomass. In this example, this does only make a small difference. You see the value for transport change to 2.0 grams CO2 equivalent per megajoule ethanol.